Hello everyone, I'm Shiki, and today I'm going to build a Macropad. So I've always used a 60% keyboard, which is a keyboard that has no function row, no arrow keys, and the right side of a normal keyboard, such as the numpad, the insert, delete, home, del button. Yes. I've been kind of missing those arrow keys, and it just so happens that I have this 4-key keyboard that I used to play rhythm games. This beautiful board was made by my good friend Owl, so check him out if you are interested. I'll have the link in the description. So I thought I would like to repurpose that to a Macropad and then maybe add a little knob, because it seems like everyone likes knobs these days. So let's get right into it. I first started by disassembling it, and that's where my first problem began, because you see, I don't know a whole lot about keyboards. I only know that talk good, clicky bad, and I needed to get this microcontroller out of the keyboard before I can remove the acrylic plate and the switches. I started with the most obvious way, which would be to desolder it, but that wasn't as straightforward as saying it, because I didn't have any solder flux and I'm bad at soldering. So I struggled for about an hour and a half before I finally just clipped off the legs. The microcontroller flew up somewhere, but I'm not going to look for it because it's probably dead. Next up, I got onto desoldering the remaining legs from the microcontrollers and the switches. Then I got these new acrylic plates, many thanks to my friend Owl for giving me the original designs, and cut them out at a local cutting store. Now watch me peel them off when they're not in the center of the screen because I couldn't see my camera. The obvious next step would be not to install these acrylic plates, but to solder on the diodes first. Let's also not forget to clip off the legs of the diodes so they don't get in the way later on. And then I grabbed my bag of Gateron milky yellow switches. These are linears and they're very nice. I actually bought them on mistake because I was initially going to use them for the 60% keyboard you see on screen right now, but that one has SMD LEDs and it's not compatible with these Gateron milky yellows. In the past, I clipped off the part that's blocking the SMDs, but it did not turn out very well, and I just put them to the side. Now I can finally use them because this board doesn't use any LEDs. Flipping the whole thing over to prepare for soldering onto the board was pretty difficult, but after a few tries I managed to get it, and now it's time to solder the switches onto the board. I'm not using hot swap sockets because it was a bit of a hassle to fit Gateron switches onto Ultimo sockets nor Clone Milmac sockets. It went pretty smoothly as I was soldering this, but I was forgetting one tiny little detail, which was how to get the microcontroller back onto the board. You see, the microcontroller I have is already soldered onto the pins, and I can't get to the other side of the board to solder the pins because it's already blocked by the acrylic. Yeah. But I went with it and soldered it anyway from the side. So now it's standing uncomfortably tall from the board, which means I'm going to need more room for the microcontroller, which is perfectly fine. So I got into flashing it and setting up the keys. After that, it was just a matter of testing the keys, and then before I forget, I am going to install this knob I got, which is pretty easy, but I needed to take off the bottom part again before soldering it on. And there we have it. Just need to put the knob back on, install some keycaps of your choice, and it's finished. Now, because it's almost the same size as my 60%, I think it looks extra nice, and it works very well as a numpad. The sound test will be at the end of the video, and thank you very much for watching. See you in the next video.